How is this country in Europe and South America? Why are there so many different cheeses? And just what is this animal? There's only one way to find out, adventurers, so subscribe, give us a like, and welcome to our Kids Guide to France. From the snow-capped peaks of the Alps and the Pyrenees to the sun-drenched beaches of the Côte d'Azur, France is a land of breathtaking beauty and rich history. Famed for its triumphant architecture, high-end fashion and mouth-watering cuisine, it's no wonder it's the world's most popular tourist destination. Hope you're ready to try some delicious baguettes and croissants. Let's explore La France. So welcome to another country in our huge round-the-world trip. We've been to so many countries already, so make sure to check out the rest of our videos on YouTube and listen to our podcast on Spotify for all our latest world adventures. You can also join the World Adventurer Club over on Patreon, where you can get early access to content and free activity packs. Anyway, on with the adventure. So where is France? France is located in Western Europe. It's bordered by Belgium, Luxembourg and Germany to the northeast, Switzerland, Italy and Monaco to the east, Spain and Andorra to the south, and the Atlantic Ocean to the west. Did you know France is the third largest country in Europe and the largest in the European Union? It's often nicknamed Le Hexagon, or the hexagon, due to its six-sided shape. France has a population of over 69.9 million people, and the national language is French. To say hello, you say bonjour. The capital city is Paris, and when you're visiting, you'll be spending the euro. Now, the nation's flag is a vertical tricolour of blue, white and red. The blue and red are the traditional colours of the capital city, Paris, while the white symbolises the monarchy. Together, they represent the unity of the nation. So what makes the French, French? The people of France are called the French, and they're a very, very proud nation. Their identity is cemented in what it means to be French, with language providing a cornerstone of their culture. Despite English being a common shared language throughout Europe, the people of France take a notable aversion to speaking it within their own country. This elegant language of love is matched only by the country's magnificent art, culture and history, gifted to them by some incredibly iconic people. Joan of Arc, Napoleon Bonaparte, Claude Monet, Cézanne, Jules Verne and Coco Chanel. Much of France practice the Catholic religion, which can be seen in its beautiful churches and cathedrals across the country, many of which stand as symbols of a nation, most notably Notre Dame in Paris. Whilst Orthodox Catholicism is on the decline, these architectural marvels still stand strong, reminding its people of the values they live by. As well as the Catholicism, France also has the highest Muslim population in Western Europe. This can be attributed to the closeness to North Africa and its multicultural history. It's this history that created the France we know today, with many different ethnic groups settling the land over many hundreds of years, one of which is the Basque. The Basque, much like the French, are proud of their culture, tradition and history. Living in the southwest of France, in what we know as the Basque country, they spread themselves across the border into Spain as well. Traditional cultures from a farming community, with each family group living on small homesteads called caseríos. This culture, handed down from family to family, created a strong sense of community and identity for the Basque people. If you travel around the Basque country, you'll often see the labruru symbol, which looks similar to the four-leaf clover. This symbol epitomises the Basque people, standing for prosperity, life and death. Did you know that the Basque have their own language? It's called Escargot, and whilst it's not a common tongue in the modern age, it's still as widely spoken as French and Spanish. The language is very unique, with researchers claiming that it's not like any other language in the world. Hi adventurers, we're outside the Eiffel Tower. Pretty impressive, isn't it? France have created many unique and impressive things over the many hundreds of years, so let's learn about them now. So, the Eiffel Tower. It's big, beautiful, and was the tallest building in the entire world when it was first erected in 1889 for the Paris exhibition. The record stood for 42 years until the Empire State Building in New York was completed. The Eiffel Tower first stood at 300 metres, but it's actually grown more in the past 100 years. That's right, grown. Every so often, they add a new aerial to boost the signal for TV and radio. which means it currently stands at 330 metres high. If you're looking for height, then look no further than the astonishing and majestic invention of the hot air balloon, built by the Montgolfier brothers in 1783. The pair proved that air travel was possible and propelled the aviation industry into what we see today. The balloon at first was not manned, but flown by a sheep, a duck and a rooster. All made it safely down to earth, don't worry Beans. From high up to down below, another feat of engineering has to go to the Channel Tunnel. A tunnel that actually connects the United Kingdom and France together. Once fierce historic rivals, they joined forces in 1987 to start digging. The French from their end and the British from theirs. In 1991 they broke through and the tunnel was created. Opening officially in 1994, it's 50 kilometres long and is used as a train tunnel, taking people to and from both countries in just 35 minutes. Head to London's King's Cross St Pancras on the British side and the Paris Gare du Nord to catch this super underground train. Yes, Beans, we can go home through the tunnel. But it would take a lot longer to get to France's other states and territories. Did you know one bit of France is actually in South America? And that's not all. France is made up of a series of regions, and most of these are in mainland France, 13 to be exact, including the island of Corsica, just off the southeast coast. But there are 5 more outside the mainland, and these are dotted all over the world. These are the overseas regions. These overseas regions are still governed by France, but do have some self-governance of their own, with some having more than others. Another good example, perhaps more familiar, would be the USA. 2 of its 50 states are located far from its mainland, in Hawaii and Alaska. These work in pretty much the same way. Right, are you ready to head over to a new continent, Beans? Yes? Okay, let's head over to South America to find our first overseas region of France. The largest of all of France's overseas regions is French Guiana. It's a big land, but with a small population. In fact, this population only lives on 5% of the region's landmass. The other 95% is covered in thick, dense tropical rainforest, much like its neighbour of the Amazon. Some of this rainforest has never been touched or visited by man, so if you fancy going somewhere unexplored, then this is the place for you. French Guiana is small but not poor. This is partly due to it still being funded by the French government. It also makes lots of money from the European Space Agency. That's right, they launch rockets from one of its islands. This is due to the region being so close to the equator, which I guess it means it's shorter to fly to space. The other 4 regions dependent on France are situated across the world. Guadeloupe and Martinique in the Caribbean, just above French Guiana, and the islands of Réunion and Mayotte off the eastern coast of Africa. Since they're all part of France, they all actually use the euro as their currency. How crazy is that? It's like being in Europe but halfway across the world. I'm sure there's a croissant or 2 you can nibble on too. There are also many other parts of the world that France has laid claim to. These are not governed solely by France, but are usually independent, with the exception of any military or foreign matters. As we zoom out, you'll see them all. There's Saint Martin, Saint Barthélemy, Saint Pierre and Miquelon in the Atlantic Ocean, and French Polynesia, New Caledonia and Wallis and Futuna in the Pacific Ocean. The countries in the Atlantic Ocean also share the euro currency. Last but not least, France also co-owned part of Antarctica in what is known as the French Southern and Antarctic Territories. There is no permanent population here and is set up, along with many other world nations, as a place for scientific research. Wow, who knew France was just so big? In fact, it's over 643,801 square kilometres, including all its overseas regions. It probably means that wherever you are, you're probably never that far away from a properly baked baguette. Right, Beans, let's head back to the mainland. I think there's a lot more to discover. Let's look at my top 5 things to do in France. The Eiffel Tower. Built for the Paris exhibition in 1889, the tower, as well as a symbol of France, is used as a viewing platform for local and foreign visitors to marvel at the beauty that is Paris. Despite no longer being the tallest structure in the world, it's still proudly the tallest structure in Paris, and in France, for now. Accessed along a majestic parkway, take in the sight, before climbing the 1,665 steps to reach the top. Alternatively, there's a lift for those too full of croissants and cheese. Palace of Versaille. One of the largest palaces in the whole world, the Palace and Gardens of Versailles are a wonder to behold. Once the seat of power in France, the palace was built by Louis XIV, or the Sun King, in 1683, and remained the nation's capital until 1789, when the revolution took hold and the capital moved back to Paris. Merely entering into one of its 700 rooms, admiring one of its 50 fountains, or standing in awe at one of its 5,000 exquisite objects, you'll see why it took 30,000 people to build it. This is French architecture and extravagance at its very best. Notre Dame Cathedral. Made world famous in French author Victor Hugo's novel Notre Dame de Paris, the Cathedral of Notre Dame is possibly the best example of Gothic cathedral architecture in the world. Graced by two stunning 233-metre-high towers at the front and an enormous round stained glass window, it is truly an icon of Paris. The towers were initially planned to be topped with towering spires, but this never came to be, and a devastating fire in April 2019 has closed the inside to the public. But the French are not one to sink into adversity. It's being lovingly restored using only traditional techniques and authentic materials. Mont St Michael. There is no site in France, perhaps even the world, quite like the monastery and adjoining township of Mont St Michael. It looks to emerge from the sea with only a causeway to adjoin it to the mainland, and even then can sometimes be submerged by water, leaving the Mont graciously stranded. It is said that Bishop Aubert in 708 was told to build here and build high by St Michael. And boy, over the centuries to come did he live up to that instruction. Despite being sieged multiple times in the 100 Years' War by the English, and the turning of it into a prison during the French Revolution, it is now back with the Benedictine monks and stands as a symbol of both France and its beauty. Mona Lisa and the Louvre. Perhaps the most famous museum in the world, the Louvre hangs arguably the most famous painting in the world, the Mona Lisa. The Louvre in Paris is full of exquisite art from all over the world. Yet every year thousands of people queue outside its doors to view a single painting, the enchanted Mona Lisa, painted by Leonardo da Vinci. Her eyes are said to follow you around the room from any angle, but that's if you have long enough to look at her. It's said that on average, each visitor gets to glimpse her for just 15 seconds. So if queuing isn't your thing, and you fancy actually looking properly, then there's plenty more to feast your eyes on. From Egyptian antiquities to Rembrandt's, Napoleon III's apartments to the French crown jewels, the Louvre is much more than just a painting. What's that, Beans? You'd like a portrait to hang on your wall? I'll see what I can do. In the meantime, I'm excited for some of the famous French cuisine. What to eat in France? Where do we start with the most famous cuisine in the entire world? Its recipes, dishes, ingredients and national pride for its food is unrivaled, at least in the eyes of the French. Every dish is created to exacting standards and many regions have their own versions of each food. Bread and pastries are always first on our list when we visit France. You can't get beans out of a boulangerie, or bakery in English. Everything is baked and bought fresh, and no more so than the famed baguette, a long, slender bread served with most meals. Traditionally ripped apart in small portions, not sliced with a knife, it can be eaten on its own or paired with pâté, meats, or any number of regional cheeses. Now, talking of cheeses, they're a big deal in France. Many of us are probably aware of the gooey silkiness of camembert, the nutty taste of Gruyère, or the soft, mellow taste of Brie. Former French President Charles de Gaulle said, "How can you govern a country with 365 kinds of cheese?" And yes, I imagine it's quite a tough ask, especially as there are now supposed to be more than 500 unique varieties all over the country. Each has its own distinct traditional recipe and is often linked to a particular town, giving only them the right to call its variety authentic. The ultimate cheese indulgence is the dish of fondue, which is very popular with alpine skiers. A selection of cheeses are melted in a large pot until they turn gooey, then it's fished out using bread or meat. If bread and cheese sound a bit too normal for you, and you fancy trying something a bit different, well, a lot different, then how about escargot? Translated, that means snails. The French are so good with food that they've even perfected the art of cooking snails. Much like mussels, they're cooked in a buttery garlic sauce outside of their shell, and then placed back in them to serve, typically at Christmas. Another unique food is cuisse de grenouille, or frog's legs. Fancy that one, Beans? Maybe not this time. Much like the taste of chicken, frog's legs are cooked in a similar buttery garlic sauce like the snails. But it's not all savoury. The French do sweet treats in much the same way, to perfection. If you fancy a sweet way to kickstart the day, then why not try the humble croissant, or the chocolatey friend, the pain au chocolat, pretty much a croissant with a couple of slices of chocolate inside. Perfect when warm, these are a must-try and a favourite, not just in France but all over the world. Then there's the macaron, not French President Macron, but macaron. These delicate and colourful little snacks are made from whisking egg whites, similar to a meringue. They're then baked and sliced in two before filling them with buttercream or ganache. They come in a variety of flavours, colours, and can be elaborately designed. Certainly something for any taste buds. As you were eyeing up your food, Beans, I've been drawing. What do you reckon? Glad you like it. Now let's introduce your top 5 animals to find in France. The European hedgehog. This prickly little mammal is a common sight in French gardens and forests. Covered in up to 7,000 spines, hedgehogs can curl into a tight ball when threatened. They're nocturnal, and despite their waddling walk, they can traverse several kilometres in a single night, hunting insects, worms and even the odd frog. The Eurasian Lynx. One of France's most elusive predators, the Eurasian Lynx roams the Jura and Basque mountains. With tufted ears and a short tail, this solitary cat uses its keen eyesight and stealth to hunt deer and rabbits. Spotting one of the wild is a rare and thrilling experience. Chamois. A nimble mountain goat antelope, the chamois is right at home in the French Alps and Pyrenees. They're known for their speed and agility on steep, rocky slopes, leaping and dashing like it's nothing. With short hooked horns and a strikingly dark stripe down their face, they're easy to spot for those lucky enough to hike high up into their rugged habitat. The European beaver. Once nearly extinct in France, these tireless engineers have made a comeback along the Rhone and Loire rivers. Known for their dam-building skills and wide, flat tails, beavers play a crucial role in shaping the wetlands and supporting biodiversity. The Pyrenean Desman. Probably the oddest creature on our list. Part mole, part shrew, part platypus. The Pyrenean Desman is a semi-aquatic mammal found in mountain streams in the Pyrenees. With a long, flexible snout and webbed feet, it forages underwater for insects and larvae. It's also endangered, so spotting one's a real treat. Amazing to discover all those incredible animals in France, Beans. From tiny garden hedgehogs to high-climbing mountain jumpers. And also, the Pyrenean Desman. Where did you spring that one from? Incredible. Well, we've had quite the adventure in France, haven't we? So many elegant cities, gorgeous landmarks and spectacular landscapes. The people of France also make the most sumptuous food. And let's not forget, we even went to South America. Certainly didn't think we'd do that this trip. Well, sadly that's all we've got time for today. And if you liked the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up below. And don't forget to check out our website for fun activity packs on all our geography topics. So we'll see you next time for another worldly adventure. Psst, don't forget to subscribe to our channel.